Hello, this is Kelly Bluen. Welcome to episode 13 of our Christmas Countdown Junk Journal. Today we are going to be making a mini book to put inside our junk journals. So maybe some of you have heard of this before, but it's called a zine, Z-I-N-E, like the last half of the word magazine. And this is something that I have done as a teacher with my students for years and years. And typically I use a full piece of copy paper and I fold it in this certain way, and then I make dozens and dozens of these little tiny books that don't take staples, they don't take glue. It's just a very easy foldable book, and kids love them. They can draw on them, they can write stories, they can make a little comic. It's so much fun. So we're doing a smaller zine today. You have a half a piece of this tan paper in your kit. If you do not have a kit, get a piece of copy paper, cut it in half, and that's what we're using. Okay, we're going to fold this in half. And if you have your bone folder from your kit, you can use that to make the crease nice and precise. Okay, then I'm going to open it up. And now I'm going to fold it upwards this way. Line it up nicely. Use your bone folder. Open it up again. Should have 4 little rectangles. And I'm going to fold it in half again, and then fold it in half one more time. So I'm just going right to left. I don't know why, it doesn't really matter. Folding it this way and then folding it again. Using that bone folder. A nice crease. Okay, now you should have 8 rectangles. And if you did this on a larger sheet of paper, you would do the exact same thing. Your rectangles would just be larger. Okay, now I'm going to take the right hand side and I'm going to fold it over to the left. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut this line right here. So it should be on a fold. And I'm just going to cut through both pieces until I get to that spot there. And when I open it, I should have a cut just in the middle. Go ahead and do that. And then when you get that open back up again, we're going to take the top half and fold it down. So these 4 down to these 4. I'm going to take my bone folder, do the creases again. And now I'm going to pinch both sides and I'm going to make this little diamond or square in the middle. Okay, so I folded it down. And now I should have this little space in the middle like that. I'm going to fold it all the way in until these pages fold one way or another. Okay, then I'm going to fold the whole thing over. I folded mine so perfectly, and then it still comes a little bit uneven, I think because we're using thick paper. And that's okay. Take my bone folder, crease everything. And then what you should have is a mini book. This would be your cover. We open it. Look at that. And now we don't need to go inside any of these little pages that are doubled. Although kids like to, right? Just because it's fun. But we don't have to. We have a front cover and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages and a back cover. Look at that. No stapling, no glue, no tape. We made a cute little book. Okay. I'm not going to do anything on the front today, but I'm going to open it up. I had an Oreo a few minutes ago, and I think I'm getting little Oreo grease spots on my pages. That's so funny. Okay, I'm going to go that first little double page, and we are going to doodle because that has been so fun this month. I'm going to start with my black pen, and I'm going to give my page a border that goes all the way across both pages. And then I'm going to pick up my pencil. Okay, you ready? This is so cute. I don't know who to credit with this. I found it on Pinterest. There was no name, there was no link to who did it, but I think it's so cute and I thought that we should do it. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Wait for it to change the lighting, adjust what it needs to do. All right, we are going to make 2 polar bears. They're going to be adorable. The reason I didn't do this on one of our little stamps is because I really wanted to make 2. So I thought we'll pop them in this little book. Okay, the polar bear, we're just gonna see the top half. So I'm going to make a bump, and let's see, I think I want them to be about that wide. So if you wanna put in 2 little marks, and I want his head to stop about here. And I'm gonna curve down and curve down, and I'm letting the top be a little bit more narrow than the body. Not too narrow, but just slightly more narrow. Okay, then I'm going to add some ears. I'm doing this in pencil still. So up here on the side, I'm going to give a bump there and a bump there. Those don't really match, so I'm going to do this one a little bit larger. And then find an eraser and erase the little line underneath the ear. Okay, I'm going to take my pen, I'm going to trace the ear, his head, the next ear, and then down. We don't want to put a line under his ears, although if you do, it's fine. I don't think it would matter one bit. Okay, inside the ears, I'm going to put the tiniest little line and a bump inside the ear, a little bump. Okay, just a little bit below his ears is going to be the top of his nose. And we're going to make an oval, and it's going to be kind of big. We're going to put a little dark spot up here for the top of his nose. You can put a little white reflection in there if you want. And then straight down, but stopping before we get to the bottom. Put in a little smile. And then we're going to do an eye a little bit at an angle there and a little bit at an angle over here. Look at that personality, it's so cute. I think it kind of looks like a llama, but I think it's supposed to be a polar bear. Okay, we're gonna put some Christmas lights on them. So I'm gonna come from up here, I'm gonna go down over here, and maybe just continue that way. And then put little lights on however you want. I'm just gonna do tiny little squares and then circles. I think that looks adorable. Okay, then we're gonna go over here and do another one. I'm gonna start with my pencil. Put in those little lines on the bottom for how wide I want it to be. Put a little line at the top for how tall you want it to be. And to make your bump. Put in the little ears, and I do a bump that comes a little bit together at the base. Like just gets a little bit narrower. If you have an eraser, erase that line at the bottom of the ear so we don't trace over it. And then we trace our polar bear / llama. Put in the little flat part and the bump of the ear. And this one's going to be a girl, and she's going to look a little bit different than the boy. So don't jump ahead. All right, she needs an oval just below the ears for her nose. She has a little dark spot up here, and you can put a little reflection on it if you want. And then the line goes down, maybe not as far this time because we're gonna swoop and swoop. Just slightly different. And then the eyes are going to be a bump and then out. And then a bump the other way and out. And then I'm going to give it a second eyelash on each one. And then she's going to have on a scarf. So I'm going to put a line here, and maybe I'll even aura it. And then another line, and you can aura that one. And then we're just going to have her scarf stick out down here and maybe here. Put some little fringe on there if you'd like. And maybe I'll aura those as well because I didn't think about that till this moment. Now on her scarf, you could do holly line like we did the other day where you put the zigzag and you add little bits of holly. You could do a series of hearts. You could do plaid. You could do whatever you want. I'm going to do these little loops. So I'm going to come from here. I'm going to go up, loop, and come down. Loop, loop. And then on these, I can maybe just fit one loop or like a partial loop. Are they not the cutest little polar bears you've ever seen? I love them. We'll add some color in a moment, but first I'm going to put in some little circles for snow. And if you want, you can do some little dangles like hearts or maybe a little star. Little ribbon on top. Maybe the little ribbons on the bottom of it. All right, if you've got an eraser, erase your pencil lines. I love that you guys are, I say you're letting me, but I guess you don't know what I'm going to draw until that day. But I love that you're enjoying the doodles because these have been really fun this year. All right, we have red and we have green and maybe you have other colors. This is what I have, so I'm going to color in every other light. Some red, some green. And maybe I'll color in the little square part with the dark ink. These would be so adorable on a card, and wouldn't it be fun to make this and make all the family members? So you could make little kids, you could give them bows or a little dress or tools or an apron. It'd be so cute and so easy to make these, and you could even have children draw them. They could make them so cute. Okay, on her scarf, I'm going to do some red in the aura part. And maybe on the fringe. I'm also going to give her some little red cheeks. Just a tiny bit of the red. I'm going to take the green and I'm going to trace right alongside the black pen line. If your gel pen starts to dry out or it feels like it's drying out, go on your skin and make a couple of lines. I don't know if it's the oil in your skin, but for some reason that gets it going again. I'm gonna put a little bit of green in their ears, not because they're supposed to be green, but just to give a little bit of color up there. And then I'm gonna color in my hearts and star. Adorable little polar bears. If you like llamas better, then those are llamas. I hope you enjoyed that. We will see you tomorrow for episode 14. I hope that your holiday season is going well. I hope it is not too stressful, and I appreciate you taking a few minutes of Zen each day for yourself. Bye-bye.